it kind of really burned me. It really taught me a big lesson. If you can avoid it, avoid it.
Hi, my name is Zoe. If you're new to the channel, welcome. And in this channel, I speak with guests and we share perspectives and our insight into things that really matter. If this is what you're looking for, do consider subscribing. And in today's episode, we have Sylvia from Tea Apothecary to share with us what to expect in a franchise business. Coming up.
It was also where I learned, I started learning how to like brew tea, what temperature the
Right.
different teas have to be brewed at, then the toppings, the pearls, how to properly cook it. And it was
Okay.
a real good training ground for me. So it helped me to understand like how to run a business because I never had any experience, you see, when I started it, when I went into
Yeah.
it. So that was a very good experience for me. You could
Mhm.
see how to operate, you know. They didn't really teach you, but
Right.
it was like a template was there, and you just need to be
Okay.
there and, you know, with your stuff and run the show.
Run the
So
okay.
after a while, you kind of get the hang of it. You kind of understand.
Mhm.
However, but the thing with franchise is that you rely on them for a lot of things, right? Like
Okay.
ingredients, cooking
Yeah.
method. You have to follow everything to a T. I think that became very difficult because the problem was when they started to change the quality of their ingredients and
Right.
you have no say, you know.
Okay.
So I think that was when like I started thinking about like that maybe I should come out and do myself because this is not
Yeah.
what I had in mind at the first place, you know. I
Understand.
came in with like in good faith wanting to because I
Yep.
felt that your drinks were good. But then when your quality starts to drop, you know, I'm like
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't see why I should be.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah.
felt cheated already. Yeah.
Exactly. And you couldn't really do what you really want,
Mm.
lah, which is what you set out to do actually at the very beginning.
By then I had already
Mm.
been experimenting by myself. I think not many franchisees will do that lah. I'm very sure
Mm.
his other franchisees are only out to just make money. And then but I think me and my staff we really like did our own research, we did our own experiments in the
Mhm.
in the store and we tried it out. So and then we
Okay.
felt that the feedback has been very, very good, you know. So I think
Okay.
that made me very confident to want to
Mm,
step
mm,
out.
mm, mm,
So
mm,
during
mm.
circuit breaker last year, that was my small mini
Right.
experiment. There was no bubble tea,
Okay.
right? So I started
Okay.
selling it from my kitchen to my neighbors.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, 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 okay.
So
Oh,
that was
okay.
a very small scale. I had a very limited menu, but every day my neighbors could text me what drinks they want
Right.
and they would come up and collect. So I sold
Yeah,
it to
yeah.
like there's only 3 blocks in my estate. So
Yeah.
I just targeted here, you know. Yeah. So
Yeah.
for 2 months, me and my kids we did that. That was our little project. Yeah. So it
Right.
was after that that it made me start to think that actually if I wanted to, I could.
So that's how it got you to start to say that, okay, I will have my own place and do it according to my direction, like whatever I want it to be, how it tastes like, how I
Yeah.
experimented
And
with it.
like to be independent and not rely
Yeah.
on the franchise lah.
If you could turn back time, would you advise people to actually try and do on their own first rather than to go under franchise? What would be your take?
I would tell them to, if you're really serious about it, go and work at the store first part time.
Mhm.
You know, if you're really, really
Mhm.
serious, go and do part time for at least 6 months, 1 year. You see how they operate, you see how they
Mhm.
cook the tea, you learn how to do it, and then you come up with your own, you know, unique
Right.
recipe. Because I mean, tea is although it's very simple, it's just hot water and tea leaves, right? It's a very handcrafted. Yeah, it's like chicken curry. Everybody cooks it differently, you know.
Right,
Like
right, right.
so, it can taste different. So I mean,
Mm.
my advice would be to go and learn first, learn from the
Mm.
store, and then
Right,
after that, you think of what flavors you want, what you can
right.
do best, what kind of drinks you want to give to your customers. So, what are
Mm.
your signature drinks and all that? So, you should actually come up with like some exclusive items and then some of like the more popular items. And then once you think that, this is enough, you know, consider
Right.
setting up your own. No?
But I also hear that you are also very happy in doing what you're doing. That's
Because as you when you run a business, there's a lot of like admin work to do, right? Sometimes
mm.
you run into contracts. I think one of the problems I had with franchise was that there was that contract thing. Somebody from SME told me this lah. He kept reminding me, my dear, remember 商场如战场. You know,
Oh yeah.
don't trust people. You cannot trust people. And
Mm.
I'm sure there are honest businessmen, but there's a lot of dishonest ones also lah. And they're all very smart. All these business
Mm.
people, they are extremely smart. You need to be very, very careful about the
Mm.
people you meet. And that's why I don't advise people to go into partnerships or like franchisees. I think if you can avoid it, avoid it. Just
Mm.
start something small and then try to grow it yourself. Because there are other people involved, other parties involved, right? Or it gets very messy. You know, like
Okay.
you got to call lawyers, like you spend a lot
Okay.
of money, a lot of heartache
Okay.
there. I would think that do it yourself lah, because it will be so much more like enjoyable, you know, like
Yeah.
less stressful. Because if anything happens, it's on you lor.
Yeah, yeah, true, true,
Like you
true.
don't need to answer to anybody. What?
So to do that on your own, you must actually love your product lah, because that will really drive you. Because if you
Yes,
don't love what you
definitely.
do, that's very difficult. So it's really about loving what you do, the process, and I think money cannot be the top of your mind when you want to start a business.
Of bubble tea shops, yeah, they're selling like boba tea and all. They all have franchise.
Yes, yes.
I think that it is, I've been through that process, and I think that it is a shortcut, but it is also, you can also learn something from it. Like you can learn how they do it. However, you become at their mercy. So that is the only thing. But I must say, I mean, from what I observe, I think franchising is not all bad. It's really, I think you can make money from the first day, because a lot of them, their brands are very, very strong, very established already. Customers will be drawn to the brand, you know.
Yes.
But having said that, do give like the no brands a chance lah. You know, nowadays with the economy like that, you know, like all the small brands are suffering, all the SMEs, they're all suffering. So if you can give all these indie bubble tea a chance, we have some customers who feedback also that, oh, your cup is so plain. Like actually, I buy generic cups because for me my cost is entirely inside the drink, you know. I don't bother dressing it up, like because
Exactly.
what for?
After that, you
You're gonna
throw,
drink
right?
it for half an hour, then you throw away.
Exactly.
So I give you
Correct.
such a nice fancy packing for what? You know.
Yeah, true.
So
True.
don't look at the outside lah. Consider what's inside, because that's what's going into your body.
Yeah.
So and then what goes in cannot come out. So like, must be very careful. I always tell my customer, you know, the cost price is inside. The cup only costs few cents only. To be honest,
Exactly.
Don't worry about the packing.
But you also said something very important, the branding. I think for every business, branding is very important. It's just that it takes time. I think it really takes time. That's why many people will go into franchise and write on other people's brand.
Yes, it is a shortcut. Franchise is a shortcut. Yeah. And I think it's a surefire way to make money. Sure can one. Make back your investment very quickly. The name is there. People will just buy. You just open shop, people will come. Yeah. You can sustain or not, that's another thing.
Yeah. Because eventually you cannot depend on them, because you are under their mercy. Anything changes, gone in that sense. So other than on IG, where can the audience find?
Yeah, you can just search Tea Apothecary, one word, _TPY.bio. IG and Facebook.